Good morning, friends, and welcome back to another episode of Trans India, Real People, Real Emotions. This week, we will be talking to Mr. Anand Bang, the Chief Operating Officer, Sales and Marketing for Tata Motors Finance, and knowing about the journey of Tata Motor Finance as well as the future plans of the company. But before that, let's take a quick look at the headlines for this week and also know what the budget has for the road transport and the automobile industry. As new trucks turn pricey, used truck prices go up by 20 to 30%. Bharat-Benz expands sales and service footprint in Maharashtra, inaugurates new dealerships in Pune, Nashik and Satara. Mahindra enters the e-cart segment with the launch of e-Alpha Cargo. Well friends, the budget this year, although had nothing much for the road transport industry, it did have a lot for roads. The government has lined up a lot of programs for the logistics segment, including setting up of logistics parks that would facilitate faster movement of goods. But before we get into budget reactions, let's watch this 2-minute clip where the Finance Minister Mrs. Nirmala Sitharaman talks about the Gati Shakti program.
PM Gati Shakti Master Plan, National Master Plan. The scope of PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan will encompass the 7 engines for economic transformation, seamless multimodal connectivity, and logistics efficiency. It will also include the infrastructure development by the state governments as per Gati Shakti Master Plan. The focus will be on planning, financing, including through innovative ways, use of technology, and speedier implementation. The projects pertaining to these 7 engines in the national infrastructure pipeline will be aligned with PM Gati Shakti framework. The touchstone of the master plan will be world-class modern infrastructure and logistics synergy among different modes of movement, both of people and goods, and location of projects. This will help raise the productivity and accelerate economic growth and development. Road transport. PM Gati Shakti Master Plan for expressways will be formulated in 22-23 to facilitate faster movement of people and goods. The National Highways network will be expanded by 25,000 kilometers in 2022-23. 20,000 crores of rupees will be mobilized through innovative ways of financing to complement the public resources. The data exchange among all mode operators will be brought on unified logistics interface platform, designed for application programming interface. This will provide for efficient movement of goods through different modes, reducing logistics cost and time, assisting just-in-time inventory management, and in eliminating tedious documentation. Most importantly, this will provide real-time information to all stakeholders and improve international competitiveness. Open source mobility stack for organizing seamless travel of passengers will also be facilitated.
Well friends, that was our Finance Minister Mrs. Nirmala Sitharaman. But let's take a quick look at what the budget has for infrastructure, which the government has been so keenly talking about. Here are the major points. 4 multimodal national parks contracts will be awarded in FY23. PM Gati Shakti Master Plan for expressways will be formulated in next financial year. 100 PM Gati Shakti terminals to be set up in next 3 years. Focus on public investment to modernize infrastructure over the medium term, leveraging tech platform of Gati Shakti via a multimodal approach. PM Gati Shakti will pull forward the economy and will lead to more jobs and opportunities for the youth. Concessional corporate tax rate of 15% would be available for 1 more year till March 2024 for newly incorporated manufacturing companies. Highways expansion to cost 20,000 crore in 2022-23. National Highways network to be expanded by 25,000 kilometers in 22-23. Friends, we can clearly see that there is the focus to improve infrastructure, which would definitely benefit road transport. But at what cost? That will be seen in the coming years once these projects get completed. Well friends, coming up after this very short break, our new segment as well as what the OEMs have to say about the budget. Keep watching Trans India, Real People, Real Emotions.
याद है कुछ इसी तरह का स्टंट मैंने आज से करीब 30 साल पहले भी किया था, लेकिन आज इस डबल ट्रक्स के स्टंट की वजह कुछ और है। डबल गारंटी, पेश है नया महिंद्रा फ्यूरियो 7 जो आता है डबल गारंटी के साथ। महिंद्रा ये गारंटी देते हैं कि उनके नए महिंद्रा फ्यूरियो 7 का माइलेज आपके मौजूदा ट्रक से ज्यादा है। अगर ऐसा नहीं हुआ तो कर दीजिए ट्रक वापस। नया महिंद्रा फ्यूरियो 7 आपको देता है गारंटीड रीसेल वैल्यू 5 साल के बाद। खरीदते समय माइलेज की गारंटी और बेचते समय रीसेल वैल्यू की गारंटी, तो हुई ना डबल गारंटी।
Welcome back, friends, to Trans India. Real people, real emotions. Transporters would know very well that since the launch of BS6, truck prices have gone through the roof. Buying a new truck is no longer an easy thing. And to top that all, the government levies a GST of 28% on trucks, putting it under the category of sin goods or luxury goods. While we still don't understand the logic behind that, we cannot argue much. But with prices of brand new trucks going up, there is a focus where transporters are buying pre-owned trucks, and that has led to the prices of pre-owned trucks going through the roof. According to financials and retailers of this segment, used truck prices have gone up anywhere between 18 to 20%, and in some categories by as much as 30% in the last 12 months. Disbursements are up 20% so far in FY21, the second year in a row when truck demand has stayed up. Used vehicle prices going up on all segments including LCV and HCV because of two reasons. Introduction of BS6 increased prices by 12 to 15%. According to Mr. Umesh Revankar, MD and CEO Shriram Transport Finance, used vehicle prices is going up on all segments including LCV and HCV because of two reasons. Introduction of BS6 increased prices by 12 to 20% across all segments, and now with steel prices up by more than 50%, OEMs have increased prices of new vehicles. Used truck prices are now up anywhere between 20 to 30%, he added. Meanwhile, truck financiers say with the economy rebounding, there is need for fleet replacement or expansion, but fleet operators are not able to spend enough to buy new vehicles. Mr. Ramesh Iyer, Managing Director, Mahindra & Mahindra Financial Services, says, with the price increase in new trucks, certain segments of customers cannot afford new trucks and hence are looking for old trucks to suit their requirements. This has pushed up demand and as a result, price of old trucks. When prices of new trucks go up, so do that of old trucks, he added. While the demand of trucks has been going up, be it in the new segment or the used truck segment, OEMs have been putting up their best foot forward to enhance their service and reach to customers. Expanding its footprint in the western region, Daimler India Commercial Vehicles in association with Autobahn Trucking inaugurated 3 new Bharat-Benz dealerships in Pune, Nasik and Satara. Opening of the new touchpoint in these highly industrialized automotive districts in Maharashtra indicates the increasing demand for Bharat-Benz products in the state. Speaking on the inauguration, Mr. Anshum Jain, COO DICV, said, Maharashtra, a vital automobile manufacturing and exporting state in the western region, is an important market for Bharat-Benz. Expanding our distribution footprint with these 3 new touchpoints at key locations will help us cater to the increasing demand for Bharat-Benz trucks and buses and provide a world-class customer experience in the region. With this expansion, we have enhanced our capability to service over 5,000 vehicles a month in the state of Maharashtra. Mr. Rajaram Krishnamurthy, Vice President of Marketing, Sales and Customer Service, DICV, said, 2022 is a milestone year for us as we are going to complete 10 successful years in the Indian market. We expect this year to be much better than 2021, which we consider a recovery year for us. Therefore, a strong dealer partner is essential in the western region. Autobahn Trucking is planning to add 100 bays in due course of time. The expansion reflects the increasing demand for Bharat-Benz products in the region and demonstrates DICV's firm commitment to the Indian market and Bharat-Benz community. The commercial vehicle segment has also been recording growth in the EV space. We are seeing companies come out with smaller EVs which cater to last mile delivery. Mahindra Electric Mobility Limited, part of the Mahindra Group, announced the launch of its new 3-wheeler, the E-Alpha Cargo. The E-Alpha Cargo is attractively priced at Rs 1.44 lakh ex-showroom Delhi. An E-Alpha Cargo owner can save up to Rs 60,000 per year in fuel cost when compared with a diesel cargo 3-wheeler. The launch of the E-Alpha Cargo marks the entry of Mahindra in the rapidly growing e-cart space. Suman Mishra, CEO of Mahindra Electric Mobility, said at the launch, the last mile delivery segment is seeing excellent adoption of electric 3-wheelers due to significant operating cost advantage versus fossil fuel powered 3-wheelers. We are now launching the E-Alpha Cargo e-cart in response to the customer requirements in this segment. With savings of Rs 60,000 over a diesel cargo 3-wheeler, the E-Alpha Cargo aims to provide a sustainable pollution-free solution in the cargo segment. Well friends, the road transport industry looks for a good growth and so does the commercial vehicle industry. Better infrastructure will help in saving costs and at the same time improve efficiency. But as I said earlier, we'll have to see that this development comes at what cost, because all these roads will be tolled and the government is also collecting cess on diesel for road development. Meanwhile, let's take a look at what industry leaders and OEMs have to say about the budget coming up after this very short break. Keep watching Trans India. Real people, real emotions.
याद है, कुछ इसी तरह का स्टंट मैंने आज से करीब 30 साल पहले भी किया था। लेकिन आज इस डबल ट्रक्स के स्टंट की वजह कुछ और है। डबल गारंटी। पेश है नया महिंद्रा फ्यूरियो 7, जो आता है डबल गारंटी के साथ। महिंद्रा ये गारंटी देते हैं कि उनके नए महिंद्रा फ्यूरियो 7 का माइलेज आपके मौजूदा ट्रक से ज्यादा है। अगर ऐसा नहीं हुआ तो कर दीजिए ट्रक वापस। नया महिंद्रा फ्यूरियो 7 आपको देता है गारंटीड रीसेल वैल्यू 5 साल के बाद। खरीदते समय माइलेज की गारंटी और बेचते समय रीसेल वैल्यू की गारंटी। तो हुई ना डबल गारंटी।
Welcome back, friends, to Trans India. Real people, real emotions. The union budget is something that most companies, most industries look keenly upon. You never know what might come their way, what might boost their fortunes. So let's see how the industry and OEMs have reacted to this year's budget. Mr. Vinkesh Gulati, President of Federation of Automobile Dealers Association, says, with PM's Gati Shakti National Master Plan, a rupees 100 lakh crore project for building comprehensive infrastructure in India, it will be a significant step towards the path of development. The budget has attempted to focus on each of the sectors and has also tried to stimulate the economy after the pandemic slowdown. FADA welcomes and supports the government's efforts and initiatives towards electric mobility. There is a clear emphasis on creative, sustainable and innovative business models. Battery swapping and energy as a service will surely help accelerate the transition towards clean mobility. The development of special mobility zones for electric vehicles and promoting clean technology for public transport validate the government's commitment to e-mobility, which would boost confidence in the EV industry in terms of manufacturing, sales, and create a sense of assurance amongst customers. The government's plan for developing 25,000 kilometers of new highways will result in a push for infrastructure spending, which will result in an increase in commercial vehicle sales, as well as an addition of 2,000 kilometers of road under a new scheme known as Kavach will be an additional benefit to the revival of this segment. With the extension of the ECLG scheme, it is a remarkable move by the government to support the MSME sector coming out of the slowdown caused by pandemics. Mr. Sanjay Kapoor, President of Automotive Component Manufacturers Association, in a statement said, the blueprint of a digitally enabled Atmanirbhar Bharat, coupled with measures that will drive sustainable yet inclusive growth at a rapid pace for the next 25 years. These are the bedrock of the proposals announced in the Union Budget 2022-23 as we redefine our economy in a post-pandemic world. Setting the direction for creation of urban fossil fuel-free zones, policy for battery swapping, and energy as service and incentives for creating a vibrant startup ecosystem, India could soon emerge as a forerunner of green mobility solutions to the world. Mr. Kenichi Ayukawa, President of Society of Indian Automobile Manufacturers, says, Siam welcomes a growth-oriented budget focused on building long-term strength, using investment as the growth leveler while maintaining policy stability and inclusivity. The 35% increased capex outlay, major infrastructure projects like 25,000 kilometer road construction, 100 cargo terminals, Project Gati Shakti, 5G network, optic fiber cable laying, and the recent PLI schemes are major positives. Leveraging biomass and support to ethanol blending for both environment and economic gains could unlock the power of India's rural economy. Steel price cooling off measures will help the entire manufacturing sector. Impetus to charging infrastructure and energy storage systems and government support in R&D for clean energy, green mobility and semiconductors will help the auto sector. We welcome the message on ease of doing business and look forward to this being observed in spirit by all departments. Mr. Satyakamarya, Managing Director and CEO of Daimler India Commercial Vehicles, says, I am pleased to see the various measures announced to boost the road infrastructure and logistics sectors that would keep the commercial vehicles industry on a positive trend this financial year. The 25,000 kilometer expansion of the national highway network, multimodal national park contracts, and the 100 Gati Shakti terminal contracts should generate greater demand for the commercial vehicles in the market in FY23 as well as FY24. FY22 was a recovery year for DICV, and we did anticipate that FY23 will be positive for us, and it seems to be taking reference from the FY23 budget. It is also heartening to see a greater thrust towards improving the logistics efficiency based on digitalization, creation of multimodal logistic parks, and cargo terminals. This will not only help the logistics industry, but will also provide much needed and enhanced cost competitiveness to the entire manufacturing sector. Mr. Dheeraj Hinduja, Executive Chairman Ashok Leyland says, the Finance Minister has presented a growth-oriented and pro-development budget for 2022-23 by focusing on sustainable planning and development, energy transition for a cleaner tomorrow, and inclusive growth through a tech-enabled economy. Also, investment-led growth strategy and the sizable capital investment for sustained and speedy economic revival are reflected in the sharp increase in capital expenditure for FY23. The special focus on education, digital and clean mobility is laudable. The battery swapping policy and special EV mobility zones will help in the smooth transition to electric vehicles. The budget has laid the roadmap for long-term development over the next 25 years, and areas like artificial intelligence, drones, semiconductors, space economy, genomics, green energy, and clean mobility systems will collectively lead the future growth of the economy. The budget echoes our sentiment and commitment to indigenous mobility solutions for a cleaner tomorrow. Mr. Vinod Agarwal, MD and CEO of Volvo Eicher Commercial Vehicles, says, we welcome the long-term focus in the budget on infrastructure and logistics development and modern vehicle technologies. The commercial vehicle industry will benefit as trucks will play a key role in infrastructure development proposed under the PM Gati Shakti Plan, construction of national highway network, and other infrastructure projects. This in turn will pave the way for modern trucks and buses to operate efficiently on Indian roads. Initiatives in the budget that strengthen the rural economy will further improve vehicle buying sentiments for a diverse range of passenger and commercial vehicles. EV battery standardization and the formulation of new interoperability standards will facilitate development of the EV ecosystem, particularly in the two-wheeler and last-mile delivery segments. Overall, the Union Budget 2022 promotes digitization and technological advancement, encourages sustainable development, and puts India on the path of progressive development. Well friends, this is what the industry leaders and OEMs had to say about the Union Budget. And coming up after this very short break, our exclusive interview with Mr. Anand Bang, the CEO of Tata Motor Finance, who talks about a very important element of the road transport industry, that is finance. Stay tuned and keep watching Trans India, real people, real emotions.
याद है कुछ इसी तरह का स्टंट मैंने आज से करीब 30 साल पहले भी किया था, लेकिन आज इस डबल ट्रक्स के स्टंट की वजह कुछ और है। डबल गारंटी। पेश है नया महिंद्रा फ्यूरियो 7 जो आता है डबल गारंटी के साथ। महिंद्रा ये गारंटी देते हैं कि उनके नए महिंद्रा फ्यूरियो 7 का माइलेज आपके मौजूदा ट्रक से ज्यादा है। अगर ऐसा नहीं हुआ तो कर दीजिए ट्रक वापस। नया महिंद्रा फ्यूरियो 7 आपको देता है गारंटीड रीसेल वैल्यू 5 साल के बाद। खरीदते समय माइलेज की गारंटी और बेचते समय रीसेल वैल्यू की गारंटी, तो हुई ना डबल गारंटी।
Welcome back friends to Trans India, real people, real emotions. In our interaction segment today, we will be talking to the CEO of Tata Motors Finance, Mr. Anand Bang. All those of you in the industry would be knowing that more than 90% of all trucks purchased are through the financing route. So what is this financing sector all about? And what are the future plans of Tata Motors Finance? Let's hear it from Mr. Anand Bang himself in this very exclusive interview for Trans India. Tata Motors Finance, which is one of the leading NBFCs in the country, realized the need to go beyond the traditional realms of vehicle financing and curate personalized solutions for its customers that supported their business with innovative products like loan restructuring, balance transfer, etc., in addition to an array of life cycle financing products like vehicle upkeep loans, fuel loans, working capital loans, capex loans, etc., to name a few. Tata Motor Finance has grown its assets from rupees 17,000 crore to rupees 43,000 crores. to talk about his incredible brand journey and its future plans. We have with us the Chief Operating Officer, Sales and Marketing for Tata Motors Finance, Mr. Anand Bang. Anand has been with Tata Motors Finance since 2014 and has been the Chief Operating Officer since August 2020, leading the business in terms of retail financing, wholesale corporate loans, used vehicle financing, fee-based income, and marketing operations for the brand. A chartered accountant by profession with a rich experience of over 17 years, Anand is a dedicated professional with a strong entrepreneurial drive for execution and transformation. Let's hear from Anand as to how the brand has been creating and empowering entrepreneurs in this sector, staying true to its objective of nation building through money lending. Here's talking to Mr. Anand Bang, COO, Sales and Marketing, Tata Motors Finance. So Anand, give us a little background about Tata Motors Finance.
We are a 60-year-old financier, but I will also say that with a 21-year-old energy and enthusiasm. And our core focus is financing commercial vehicles and serving the Tata Motors ecosystem through various financial solutions.
What is Tata Motor Finance Solutions all about? What falls under the TMFS?
So around 5-6 years back, we were doing the new Tata Motors vehicle financing, and then we thought about that if we need to be present in the entire customer life cycle, then the logical extension was to go into the used vehicle business. So that is one piece of business what we do in Tata Motor Finance Solutions. Second is that strategically what we have decided is that we will be focused on Tata Motors ecosystem financing solutions. Hence, the other two important constituents are dealers and vendors of Tata Motors Limited. So we started coming out with products and solutions for vendors and dealers, and that is that business we call it as corporate lending group. And so that is another business what is housed in Tata Motor Finance Solutions. So strategy wise, it's a diversification plan for Tata Motors Finance, at the same time serving the vehicle life cycle for the customers and serving the Tata Motors ecosystem. So that's what Tata Motor Finance Solutions does.
So is TMFS restricted to finance only Tata trucks, or it can go beyond that as well to all commercial vehicles?
So in new vehicle, we are only doing Tata vehicles. In used, we are doing all products, which is Tata and the non-Tata commercial vehicles. This also serves the purpose for Tata Motors Limited because it allows us the flexibility to come out with very lucrative exchange schemes. At the same time, open the door for Tata Motors Limited for competition customers also, because many of the customers, if they have any other brand vehicles, we enter it through a used vehicle financing and gradually try them to convert it into the new vehicle purchases for Tata Motors. So in used, we do all commercial vehicles.
Anand, for the new truck segment, do you feel restricted that you can finance only Tata trucks, or is it that the market share of Tata trucks itself is so huge that you don't care?
Today, we are around 30% market share for Tata vehicles, and Tata Motors is largest OEM. So the answer will be we don't feel restricted because the still there is hunger for market share is there within Tata Motors Finance. Second, it also helps us in building relationship with the dealers and also working very closely with Tata Motors Limited, because we do only Tata vehicles. So dealers and Tata Motors feels very, very comfortable in sharing the leads as well as coming out with the package solutions for the customers. This also gives us the flexibility in designing a very focused schemes, whether geographically or for a customer segments. And we are very happy doing Tata new vehicles, and we still believe I think we can do much better, even better for expanding our market share.
So Anand, does this give you an edge over other banks and other NBFCs? And how is the competition within this segment?
I will not say there is an edge. Tata Motors is a very fair organization. In most of the places, what happens that we are being the largest Tata Motors vehicle financier, we come out with various schemes because we understand the customer segments, we understand the products. So we work with Tata Motors Limited to offer a value proposition which can work in for customer segments in geographies, and I think then it is open for competition. So there are nothing like exclusivity with the TMF, but yes, I think it gives us a bit of advantage to work more closely with Tata Motors and dealers.
Anand, when the lockdown came and everything came to a grinding halt, most of the trucks were not operating, and it took a while for the industry to get back to normal. But during this period, your EMIs also would have stopped. What was the sentiment at TMF and how did you deal with the situation?
Yes, that definitely I think last year was difficult for everyone, and everybody went through this pandemic cycle. See, in our case, there are two important constituents. One is customers and second is employees. So the moment the lockdown was announced, we are a board governed organization. So we had, I think in those 2 months of April, May, we had, I think, something like 5 or 6 board meetings. The first one starting from the 2 days when the Reserve Bank of India announced the moratorium. And our message from our directors and from the management to the team was very clear that these are difficult times. We need to be close to our customers. At the same time, we need to follow all the protocols and don't put our employees in any kind of the harm. So I think 27th of March, if I do remember right, when the moratorium was announced, and within couple of days, within March, we made the policy, came out with the digital solutions for customers to opt for the moratorium. And whosoever customer came for asking for the moratorium, we had provided them. The one thing what we did is that we did lots and lots of customer connect sessions. The good thing was there was not much of the business which was happening. We utilized that time to be close to be our customers. We did a lot of employee communication, which is webinars with our employees, taking care of not only of employees but also the families of employees, working that I think employees' health is taken care of. If there are any cases, then I think we do care. And what that resulted into is that first we had a very good last year from a financial perspective, from whether if it comes from a ROA or ROE, and even the H2 of last year, we grew as compared to what the 19-20 numbers were. From a customer, if we did our CSAT for 2021, and one thing which came out very, very strongly is that TMF is probably the most empathetic financier. So with the Tata company, you get trust, you get transparency. Those were always the high points for TMF. But I think one thing which came out in this survey for customers, they had appreciated that we are an empathetic financier. We gave moratorium, we gave the ECLGS loan what government announced. At the same time, wherever there was a requirement, we offered the restructuring to the customers also. Second thing on the employees, I think our employee engagement score this year is 96%. We took care of all our employees, not only the permanent employees, but also the contractual or the outsourced employees. And that is, I think, is pretty much visible in the score. We call ourselves Wolf Pack. The culture what we drive, which is work together, hunt together and win together. And this was a time, I think, where to stand together. And so the morale is pretty high. And that was the reason that we were able to bounce back very, very quickly. And we did grow in H2 as compared to what the H2 of 1920 was.
So Anand, how many of your customers actually opted for the moratorium offered by the government? And what was the breakup between smaller and the larger players going for the moratorium? Do you have any sense of this?
Sure. So when the moratorium 1 was announced, which was for the 3 months, starting from March, April and May, I think we had around 75% of our customer opting for the moratorium, and it was across the board, tilting more towards the small fleet operators, because many of the large fleet operators which are in the pharma industry or in the essential services, they were still paying their EMIs, but I think it was tilted more towards the retail customers. In moratorium 2, which was for the months of June, July and August, I think this percentage came down to around 55 odd percent. And again, I think the ratio was again tilted more towards the retail customers as compared to the bigger fleet operators.
So when did the recovery start actually?
By the time we came in September, I think we saw that the recoveries started happening. When we were talking to the customers in these 3-4 months, I think we would have connected with probably I think close to 6,000 odd customers, and these are connected means having a video conference or a telecall with individual customer. Customers, I think the people found a way around that how the business needs to go up, go on, and transportation is a segment which is essential for anything, I think what you do. So when manufacturing cycles started turning up, the plants opened, the recovery started happening from August, September on. The recovery was led by sales first and then the collections, because once you see the demand, once people started getting the contracts, I think this started from there. And the H2 collections, I think the H2 collections were probably, I think we started coming closer to at par with the pre-COVID levels. There were quite a lot of I think with the moratorium, some customers were able to make some kitty of the collections also. So I think that was the scene. Q4 I think was a full-fledged performance, whether it was on the sales side, which is disbursement, or even for the collections.
So Anand, obviously the industry was in a spot of bother, transporters, truckers, everyone was in a mess, with operations not happening, and that eventually would have led to bad loans as well. How did you handle the situation?
I think GNPAs have gone up because in commercial vehicle, typically what happens is that if a customer misses 1 or 2 EMIs, in a small commercial vehicle, it is very difficult for the customers to come back and pay 3-4 EMIs together. But we did not have any large, probably the bad cases. Our GNPAs, where we ended in March 20, we were flat in March 21. So the slippages were not that high as compared to probably what I think in April, May, what the anticipation was there. Let me, I think, probably correct you. From a financiers, the wave 2 impact was a bit worse than what the wave 1 impact was, because it was a bit surprising, the wave 2 when it came in. In our case, we had, I think, close to 1,000 odd employees who were infected from the COVID. So wave 2, I think in the Q1, we had the slippages. We had to stop the collection efforts, because when such kind of the large number of the employees started getting infected, so we had a poor Q1. The good thing was we bounced back in the Q2, and looking at October and November, I think we are coming back to something like a normal, and we anticipate for the rest of the year, I think we should close at something like a pre-COVID levels.
Well friends, that was part 1 of our interaction with Mr. Anand Bang, the CEO of Tata Motor Finance. Next week we shall continue our interaction with him and know more about the plans of Tata Motor Finance, and also how the company is dealing at a time when operating costs are going up, the price of truck itself going up, which means more exposure for the companies. So how are the finance companies handling this situation? We'll talk about this and more next week. So see you again next week, and before you go, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and spread the word around. Until next week, stay safe. Jai Hind.